welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be discussing Him and Him and Him by LeeNaeRi. Now before we get started, there will be spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled on some Manhwa, go ahead and click off now. No worries, I'll catch you next time. Now for those of you left behind, let's go over some content warnings. There may be references to polygamy and or polyamory, BDSM, cheating, dubious consent, manipulation, misconceptions around hygiene, specifically beliefs on sex during menstruation, rape, PTSD, Oedipus complex, death, obsession, child abuse, child neglect, coercion, pseudo-incest, cuckoldry, as these things do appear in the manhwa. Now, if all that's good with you, let's go ahead and get started. As always, let's start out with a quick synopsis. CAU is your average office worker. She's also had a partner for many years, but none of this is enough for her. Every day is routine with mindless tasks that would bore anyone to tears. Sia, though, is more disturbed by this routine than anyone else. Why? Because she has a preference toward group sex. She desperately longs for a chance to be ravaged by multiple men simultaneously, though she would never say so out loud. As a result, she ends up breaking up with her longtime partner and going to a club in hopes of meeting the partners of her dreams. As luck would have it, she's approached by Hangyul and Hangyum, twins who ask her outright, "Are you interested in group sex?" How they knew such a thing is beyond her, but she takes this opportunity to finally lead the stimulating life she's always dreamt of. As it turns out, they actually have a third person to add to the mix, their uncle Doha, who likes to watch people have sex before he joins in himself. With this odd mishmash of people, Sia wants to make this a night to remember, as it will surely be her once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Right? So to start out with, the art is very nice. The men in particular are stunning and super attractive. It's also pretty consistent. The only downside is that it does look a bit stiff from time to time, and the jewelry is laughably out of place. I'm pretty sure they just got stock jewelry or 3D modeled jewelry and pasted it in where needed, which isn't uncommon in manhwa, but it's done better in some than others. In this case, it's pretty awkward and is clearly out of place. Thankfully, this doesn't happen often, but it's worth noting since one of the few times the art isn't as perfect as it usually is. Unfortunately for some, this isn't going to be worth it to read because it's about 98% smut with 2% dedicated to the story, and even the parts committed to the story are mostly just info dumps about their pasts. I personally don't mind superficial stories where smut's the main focus, but this is an odd case. It seems like it tries really hard to be deep with mentions of extremely dark pasts from the nephews and the uncle, but it's mentioned in passing as a way to excuse their preference for group sex. I don't think it needed an excuse, as threesomes, foursomes, and poly preferences are perfectly valid without needing some dark past to validate them. It makes it seem like what they're doing is wrong, which is not accurate at all. I actually wish there was less story and just make it an all-out smut fest, as I think it would have been much more enjoyable without the jarring trauma and backstory dumps. Now, while I enjoy smut as much as the next person, and probably more than most, I admittedly hate dirty talk. Unfortunately, this is full of it, and it has done nothing to change my preference. There's a never-ending stream of dirty talk with unnecessary descriptions of Sia's genitals as squeezing, sucking, and tightening. I don't mind those descriptors, but there's something about imagining people saying them out loud repeatedly that makes me feel awkward. I don't want complete silence, which would probably be even more uncomfortable, but they talk way too much for my liking. It's almost full-on conversations during sex, which is just too much for me. However, if you like dirty talk, there is plenty of it here for you, I promise. I also wasn't a massive fan of the pseudo-incest after Sia married Doha. Hangyul and Hangyum called her auntie during sex, which gave me the heebie-jeebies, to put it lightly. However, eventually they ended up having a child, which I love. I'm a big fan of child rearing, pregnancy, and the like in my romance content, and this doesn't disappoint on that front. I love that they don't care who the father is, they all raise her as their own. She also looks just like Sia, which helps keep up the mystery of the baby's parentage. I wish we could have seen more of them raising her together, but the fact that we get any in this Smutfest was a nice touch for me. I would love to read more poly titles with child rearing in them. With all that being said, this is fine. It's super short with lots of sex, which for some people will be ideal. It's not a very good story though, so if you need that to enjoy manhwa, then you won't enjoy this one. There are much better smutty titles out there, but if you have nothing better to do and want something quick with plenty of sex, look no further. If nothing else, it's going to be really nice to look at while you enjoy the never-ending sex scenes. So, have you read Him and Him and Him? If so, what do you think? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you not? Let me know and comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye!